Welcome back to the deep dive. We're diving into right-sizing today, and we've got a great place to start.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, a blog post by Sally Sullivan.
Okay.
She's a top real estate agent, and this isn't just about, like, downsizing your stuff, you know? It's more about creating a lifestyle that, you know, really matches up with your goals.
It's really interesting how the word right-sizing itself suggests we're not just getting rid of things.
Right.
It's about making our lives, like, genuinely better.
Exactly. Yeah. And Sally actually went through right-sizing when she sold her home.
Oh, wow. Which
had to be, like, a really emotional experience. And she actually quotes Chuck Palahniuk in her blog.
Okay.
He said, and I love this quote, "You don't own your stuff. Your stuff owns you."
Yeah. I can see how it would be easy to feel that way.
Oh, yeah, totally. And there's just so much stuff.
Right.
The average American home has, like, over 300,000 items.
Whoa.
It's crazy. Do you think that's because we're, like, constantly bombarded with messages to buy more things?
I think that's a big part of it, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
And then there's also this fear of scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this idea that we have to hold on to things just in case.
Just in case, right.
And then, like, our memories get so tied up in our belongings.
Oh, absolutely.
It's hard to let go.
Sally talks about how she was feeling really overwhelmed at first, you know?
Yeah.
Just trying to donate or sell a few things here and there.
I can only imagine.
But she knew she needed, like, a better system, especially because she had a move coming up.
Right. It's like trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon.
Exactly.
So what did she end up doing?
Okay, so get this. She found this online auction platform called MaxSold.
I've heard of them.
Yeah. So they send a team to your house and they take pictures of, like, everything.
Oh, wow.
And they handle the whole auction for you, like listing items, managing bids, even arranging for people to pick up the stuff.
And so they basically take all the hassle out of the process.
Exactly. And they also reach a much wider audience than you would with, like, a yard sale.
Ah, that makes sense.
So even, like, unusual items have a better chance of selling. Sally said she was surprised by some of the things that sold.
Really?
Yeah, even stuff from, like, her shed.
That's interesting. What might seem like junk to one person
Totally
could be like a treasure to someone else.
Exactly. Okay, so let's say you're actually considering right-sizing.
Okay.
What are some practical first steps? Sally has some great tips in her blog.
I'm all ears.
Okay, so first you have to have a goal in mind.
So.
Like, are you trying to clear clutter? Make space for something new, maybe make a little extra cash.
I like it.
She also says to start early.
Okay.
Ideally, like 6 to 8 weeks before a move.
Okay.
But even if you're on a shorter timeline, even tackling a specific area like a storage room can make a big difference.
Yeah, just to get the ball rolling.
Yeah. And oh my gosh, her 1-year rule is genius.
Not bad.
If you haven't used it in a year, it's probably time to let it go.
It's a great guideline. Takes the emotion out of it.
Right.
Now, what about those items that are harder to part with? The things with sentimental value. Did she address that?
She did. She suggested digitizing old photos and letters.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You get to keep those memories without all the clutter.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are items that you can repurpose. Like maybe an old dresser could become a TV stand.
Oh, I like that.
Just get creative.
Yeah, repurposing is such a great idea. It's like you're giving those items a second life.
Right.
And reducing waste at the same time.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious, what about the things that can't be repurposed or sold?
Okay.
What did Sally suggest for those?
Research was a big one.
Okay.
Like a lot of charities will take specific things, like old electronics or tools, things you might not even think they'd want.
That's a good point.
You just have to do a little research.
It really is about being mindful about where things end up.
Yeah.
Even as they leave your hands.
Right.
It all goes back to that idea of right-sizing, doesn't it?
It does.
Making those intentional choices about what you keep and where things go.
And once you've, like, done all that hard work, Sally says, celebrate.
Yes.
It's a huge accomplishment. And you probably deserve a little treat.
Totally.
Maybe use some of the money you made from selling your stuff.
I love that.
And then, like, a deep clean after everything's gone.
Oh, yeah.
That can be so therapeutic.
It is.
It's like closing a chapter.
And starting fresh.
Yes. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the practical side of right-sizing, but there's, like, a whole other dimension to this.
Okay.
Sally actually quoted Janelle Williams in her blog.
Right.
She owns a professional organizing company. She said, getting your home in order is part of self-care.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
It's so true. Our physical space can have a huge impact on us mentally and emotionally.
Right.
Like if our surroundings are cluttered, our minds feel cluttered too.
It makes me think about how I feel after I've cleaned out like a junk drawer.
Oh, yeah.
My whole world feels like more in order.
I know exactly what you mean.
Even if it's just this one tiny little drawer.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah, and so like a decluttered space can create a sense of calm and control.
Yeah, like a sanctuary.
Yeah.
A place where you can relax and recharge.
It's almost like right-sizing isn't just about our homes.
Yeah.
But about creating space in our lives for things that really matter.
You're right. It's about aligning our external environment with our internal values and our aspirations, making choices that support our well-being.
Totally. Before we go any further, I think it's worth mentioning that Sally's blog post is from a really reputable source.
Okay.
It's Buyer's Edge.
I've heard of them.
They specialize in representing home buyers.
Okay.
And they've been doing it for like over 33 years.
Wow. That's a long guy.
With that much experience, I'm sure they've seen it all
when
it comes to real estate, including the challenges people face when they're right-sizing.
Definitely.
And they cover a huge area.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Maryland, from Washington, D.C.
Okay.
They're not just like some fly-by-night operation, all right?
Yes.
Okay, I know we've covered a lot.
We have.
But I feel like we're just scratching the surface here.
Yeah, for sure.
So what are some of the things that have stood out to you the most in this deep dive?
You know, for me, it's that emphasis on intentionality.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting rid of things.
Right.
It's about making those conscious choices about what we bring into our lives.
Yes.
Both physically and emotionally. It's about like curating a life that reflects who we really are.
I love that, curating a life.
Yeah.
It makes it sound so purposeful.
It is.
And I think you're right. It's not about perfection.
Right.
It's about making progress, taking small steps towards creating a space that feels authentically you.
And remember, you don't have to do it all at once.
Right.
Think back to those practical tips we talked about.
Yeah.
Start with a goal. Tackle one area at a time and just be patient with yourself.
And Sally's story is a great example of that.
Yeah.
She didn't try to do everything overnight.
Right.
She knew it was a process, and she let herself like feel the emotions that came up along the way.
Because right-sizing can be emotional.
Oh, totally.
Especially when you're dealing with things that have sentimental value. It's about honoring the past while also creating space for the future.
Exactly. And like acknowledging that letting go of physical possessions doesn't mean letting go of the memories or the experiences.
Exactly. They're still a part of you.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that our identities aren't tied to our belongings. And our worth isn't measured by the quantity of things we own.
Which is so liberating when you really think about it.
It is.
Because then it becomes about making space for experiences and relationships.
Yes.
For the things that truly enrich our lives.
And as we create that space, both physically and mentally, we open ourselves up to new possibilities.
Totally.
New ways of being, new ways of seeing ourselves.
Right-sizing really is a powerful act of self-care.
It is. It's about saying yes to yourself.
Yeah.
And to the life that you want to live.
And stepping into your full potential.
Yes.
Unburdened by all that stuff.
All of the things that no longer serve you.
As we wrap up this deep dive on right-sizing, I keep coming back to that quote, "You don't own your stuff. Your stuff owns you."
It's such a good one.
It is.
It's such a powerful reminder that our possessions can really take over.
Yeah, if we're not careful.
And it makes you reevaluate your priorities.
Yeah. What do we really want our lives to be about?
Exactly what truly brings us joy.
And there's no one right answer to that.
Yep.
It's about what feels right for you.
And it's a question worth revisiting every now and then.
Because what we need and want in life changes.
Yeah.
Right? What worked for us 5 years ago might not work now.
It's like taking inventory, not just of our belongings,
right,
but of our values, our priorities, our dreams. And sometimes, like, letting go is the most powerful step we can take.
To create that space for growth.
Yeah.
Thinking about Sally again and how she turned what could have been a really tough time into a chance to grow. I think that's pretty inspiring.
It is. It shows that you can approach these transitions with intention.
Yeah.
And remember, you don't have to go it alone.
Right.
Sally had MaxSold. But even having like a friend help you sort through things.
Oh, yeah.
Can make a big difference.
Having that support system is huge.
Absolutely.
Okay. As we wrap up our deep dive into right-sizing,
okay,
I have one last question for you.
I'm ready.
What's one thing, and it could be an object, a belief, even a habit that you could let go of today to make your life better, just something to think about?
That's a great question to ponder.
Right.
Sometimes even just acknowledging what's not serving us is a huge step.
It really is. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into right-sizing.
It was fun.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep creating the life you want to live.